Yeah.
Time to set the stage with the lights off. Let the little nigga breathe till the fight's lost. You ain't never like the room with the bright sauce. Hail Mary, they despise what the light brought. Let them roach niggas bleed if they can't see. sa.neter TV, what you can't be. They say that murder on my mind, now they can't breathe. Take a picture of the crew, that's your last peep. Oh, and need me or love, yeah, that's just me. Keep them jumping like some frogs, so they might be leave what the sun set. And they don't really wanna bleed from the gunplay. And like mine, niggas smoking weed on the one-way street, nigga. Yeah, we see we outside with it. Pull up to debates like we might be with it on guard. Side these niggas like bullshit and they fraud. Let me chop them down with the sword. Walk them down like they live bars. This the toughest you gon' be in, we too hard. And you don't really want that smoke, my G. sa.neter TV, this the toughest environment, the toughest environment, the toughest environment to be in, the toughest environment, the toughest environment, the toughest environment to be in, the toughest environment, the toughest environment, the toughest environment to be in, the toughest environment, the toughest environment, the toughest environment to be in, the toughest environment, the toughest environment, the toughest environment to be in, toughest environment, the toughest environment, the toughest environment to be in. Keep that off your lip before you get flipped. We got sources over here, we don't just spit. Too many bosses over here, y'all just legit. Put them niggas in the game, let them get real. Don't even step unless you come in with that scholarship. That economic tip, gotta make a dollar flip. And I might be next, I don't give a damn, a truth rolling with me, so I'm feeling like the son of man. Too many gon' hate, gotta make a stand. I'm just tryna duck the lake, you don't understand. Read them when I greet them, that's my best plan. Head first shit, I'm just saying. Nigga meet me in LA, oh you just playing. Too many be fake, what the base saying. So I tell them they don't want no smoke before they end up in the newspaper next day. Smoke, this the toughest environment, the toughest environment, the toughest environment to be in. Toughest environment, the toughest environment, the toughest environment to be in. Toughest environment, the toughest environment, the toughest environment to be in. Toughest environment, the toughest environment, the toughest environment to be in. The toughest environment, the toughest environment, the toughest environment to be in. Toughest environment, the toughest environment, the toughest environment to be in. Toughest environment, the toughest environment, the toughest environment to be in. Toughest environment, the toughest environment, the toughest environment to be in. And this is it right here. The toughest you gon' ever be in. You wasn't conscious before us. Y'all niggas was asleep. We woke the sleeping giant. We did it. sa.neter TV.
Yeah, enough of that, man. I want to get right to it. Y'all already know what it is. I got YK the Truth in the building.
What's good?
And I'm going to tell y'all something, man. The Indians are running scared. They tried to label this brother as just a troll because when somebody know the information, they try to label him a troll so they don't have to deal with his information to make people think that he's a quack. But the people who do research, they know better than that. YK the Truth is the best we have when it comes to this topic right here. He give you the sources. You can go and do your fact-finding missions to research. And without any further ado, I'm not going to hold a brother up. I'm going to let him go ahead and get it in, man. I'm going to fall back. Brother Pete, I'm glad you're here, brother.
It's good, Simon, man. It's long due for me to be here.
Yeah.
Bring sources to this video right here that's live. And I want to just thank you for what you're doing, brother.
Thank you.
I don't know if you remember, I was 17 when I first ran.
I remember.
I was a youngin', and you showed me them pictures. I never seen them, and I was like, yo, our people went through that. So I just want to salute you because you put it in my mind, you know, to learn your history.
Notice you don't see no Indians up there.
Nah, I ain't seen no
You
Indians.
know what I'm talking about? You don't see no Indians up there hanging, doing them hangings.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, go ahead, brother. Talk to me.
Yeah, so I'm gonna share my presentation. I got sources, PowerPoint. That's all I'm gonna do.
I
So
was looking at your latest video,
uh-huh.
and I seen where you said that they trying to take Juneteenth away from us.
Yeah.
Man, I hope you touch on that too.
Yes, I will.
Let's go. Let's get it.
I got my screen shit.
All right, it's up.
So let's get to it. Are the African American the true Native American? All right. I will prove without a doubt that the so-called Black people are not the original inhabitants of America. I will dismantle this idea by looking into historical documents, utilizing DNA evidence, and exploring genealogy. Abos claim that genealogy is crucial, yet they seldom present their genealogical evidence. And when they do, it always takes them back to Africa. The most outspoken Abo never provides any evidence of Aboriginal genealogy. I will compare classifications and clarify the definitions to show you who's a real Negro, Black, and colored person. Aboriginals want us to think that they were misclassified, but I will show you that we have always understood our identity. Have you ever wondered why Abos lack credible scholars who support their claims, leading them to cherry pick and misrepresent our scholars? They attempt to reference individuals like David Elters, but those individuals never align with their views. In this presentation, I will demonstrate that there are no laws supporting the idea that we are Aboriginal to America. There are no sovereign laws that confirm this. Abos rely on superficial appearances, but historian David Elders has stated that there was no individuals present here before Christopher Columbus who shared our phenotype. Today, I will present sources that validate historian David Elders, the very person Abos have desperately tried to cite. I hope everybody enjoys this presentation and gains valuable insight from it. So let's get it. Now, Abos want us to believe that American Indian and Native are not the same. They'll say things like, I'm American Indian. I'm not a Native. But if you look at the definition, they are the same. American Indian or Native American are any member of the various Aboriginal peoples of the Western Hemisphere, with the exception of Eskimos. The term Native is today often preferred to as American Indian. So we know that. Now let's go to the 1550s etymology of Negro. It's a member of a black-skinned race of Africa, from Spanish, Portuguese, Negro, Black. So we know that Negro is talking about somebody of African ancestry. So it's, don't miss me with that it's Indians, because it's not. A Negro is somebody that's from Africa. Now, the Abos, they love to use the Webster's Dictionary. And what does the Webster's Dictionary say? It said Negro. It is commonly referred to retain the exact Latin pronunciation of this word, a native or descendant of the Black race of Africa. The word is never applied to tawny or olive colored inhabitants of the northern coast of Africa. So we got that. Now, let me slow down a little bit because I want to get y'all to understand this, right? When we go to the narrative of the 5-year expedition, let me drink some water. All right. So the narrative of the 5-year expedition, it says, during these troubles, it happened that one officer and about 70 men sent from the colony of the Suriname had been posted on the banks of the river Caratine. This detachment, together with a party of Indians who are natural enemies to the Negroes. So if Indians and Negroes are the same, how is it saying Indians are enemies to the Negroes? You got to hold that L. You see, Abos love to say Indians and Negroes are the same. But according to this book, they're enemies. And guess who they said was the friends? The friends to Europeans. So how can we be the same if the Indians were close to Europeans than they was to us? And that's just like today. The Abos running around here, they acknowledge their European ancestry. They acknowledge be friendly to the white man, but when we pull up, they want to disrespect us. So according to the source, you guys are just like them. Now let's go to Negroes and Indians of Texas, right? This is in 1852. It says a 35-year-old Negro named Tom, 6 feet 6'8" in height, weighing 240 pounds, carried his master to safety after the white man had been wounded in an Indian fight. So that showed you Negroes and Indians are not the same. It says Indians in the Comanche County in 1852 lanced up and rode over a Negro. They killed him, an Indian who escaped by playing possum. About the same time, Indians killed Mr. Bean and also a Negro. So you guys want to claim you're Indians, but the Indians was killing us crazy. But y'all want to be that. Now, for anybody who say Negro and Indian are not the same, do me a favor. Show me a Negro land in America. Can you do it? Can you, Abo, show us a Negro land in America? But in Africa, there's a Negro land, 1747. This is a map that shows you this. Let's go to the Log Dictionary. You see, nothing is taking us, nothing is saying, yo, Negro means American Indian. Negro means Aboriginal. Nothing is saying that. We at the Log Dictionary. And a Negro is what? One descendant from the African race. So we in the Log Dictionary. Now, this is going to be a body bag because the Abos love using Asian slaves. See, they want us to believe that the Native Americans in America is just Asian slaves who came over here. And they cherry picked this book. But it's time to die by your favorite book. So what it says from the Spaniards' perspective, the Portuguese brought to Manila slaves who fell into two main categories. The first group consisted of slaves from Africa and their descendants, generally called Black or Negro. Does it say generally called Indian? Generally called Aboriginal? No, it says generally called Negroes. Now we're going to go to the Journal of Slave Trader, John Newton, 1770 to 1754. It says all Negroes are...
Hey, hold up for 1 minute, brother.
Yeah.
Is your PowerPoint moving?
Can you see it?
All right, now it just moved, but it's been on the first one for a minute.
All right, so is it on this? Can you see this one?
All right, yeah, I see the duck. I see the bird right now.
Can everybody can you see that? Is it big enough to see?
Somebody was saying, can you make it bigger? Q was saying, can you make it a little bigger?
All right, let me see.
But it might come out. You don't want it to come out.
What up? Is it sharing when I go like this?
No, it didn't move.
See, it's moving on my end. But
yeah,
let me see.
I think you got to click on it, and it'll move. Click on your next show. Slide.
All right. What about that? Can you see it now? Hold on. But can you read it?
Yeah. See, there you go. Now it moved when you click it.
All right. Can you?
All right. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Yep,
right.
That's good.
My bad, people. It says all Negroes are Africans. Today, there are many Negroes in America, in the West Indies, and thousands in Great Britain who are descended from the slaves taken by white men from Africa.
Cube is saying you have to present it. Like if you press the button present, it'll be on the screen.
But when I present it, it won't let me go to it. You see?
Oh, okay. Okay.
You see it?
Yes, I see it. Yeah.
Is it nice? Is it a good size?
Yes, it's good. It's real good. You got it.
Right.
Yeah.
So it said we are apt to think that the Africans of Newton's day were savages without any laws. You see, this is what the Abos think. We just Africans, man. We ain't like them dirty Africans, but that is not so. Most of what we know of them and their surroundings is from a few descriptions and drawings by the white man. There were sometimes wild guesses. For instance, we know that there are no tigers in Africa. We know that many animals, it says, but one Englishman who wrote, he said the country is full of tigers. So they're basically saying that a lot of Africans were smart. They wasn't what the white man was saying we was. Can you see it, Shah? Did it skip? Did it go to the next one? Yo, Shah.
No, we still right there with the bird right there. Now it moved. Yep.
All right. Now let me know. Did it blow up?
I see where it says every person in whom.
All right. Did it blow up now?
Yes, it's blown up. We can see it clear.
Now, this is the Code of Virginia. It said colored persons and Indians defined. This is 1930. Every person in whom there's a discernible any Negro blood shall be deemed and taken to be a colored person. So, and it says, it said Negro shall be deemed and take a colored person. And every person, not a colored person, having 1/4 or more American Indian blood shall be deemed an American Indian. So they know who's an Indian and they know who's a Negro. So don't say, well, they misclassified me. They don't know. They know who's a colored person and they know who's an Indian. You got to hold that L. Now let's go back. Let me click this one. Now you got the black belt. This is the etymology of the black belt. It says from 1870 in reference to districts extending across the U.S. South with the heaviest African population. Does it say the heaviest Indian population, the heaviest Aboriginal? No, African. You got to hold that L. Another source, right? And Abos always like to say genealogy is the key, right? You always hear them say genealogy is the key.
Yep.
But they never show the genealogy. So today, YK is going to show his African genealogy. I've been going back and forth with you, Abos. Hold on. I've been going back and forth with you for over 8 years. And I still haven't seen not one genealogy that say you was American Indian or Aboriginal. So here is my 4th great grandfather, Richard Reed. And guess where his parents were born? In Africa. So I'm going to pull up the next source. All right. This is the 1880 census. And it says his parents were born in Africa. I dare you guys, I dare you Abos to pull up to sa.neter TV and share some genealogy. He'll let you do it, but you won't do it because you don't have any. All right. And here's even the brother Aboriginal Power. I hope you in there listening. You said you ain't have any.
I won't find more on none of my ancestral shit. I haven't found Aboriginal on none of my ancestral shit. I haven't found a few things on none of my ancestral.
So how you are Aboriginal without Aboriginal genealogy?
Woo!
Make that make sense.
Damn.
I didn't find Aboriginal, and you hear the other Abos in there. Me neither. I ain't find nothing. So why y'all saying genealogy is the key and y'all not showing your genealogy? Let's go. Now, this is my great grandfather, John Seabury, and it says he's an African, black. So we know right there that black means African, right? This is his World War I draft record. Can you see it? Is it showing, Shot?
Yeah, it's up.
All right, that's his World War I draft record. Now, guess what? If you Abos do your genealogy, you're going to see your ancestors fought in the war, fought for your freedom, right? But guess what? Without the Militia Act, that would have never been possible. The Militia Act of 1862. And let's see if the Militia Act was about Aboriginals or American Indians. It said, Section 13, and further be enacted that when any man or boy of African descent, who by the laws of any state shall owe service or labor to any person during the present rebellion. So the Militia Act is about people of African descent. So you got people like Sister Betty. She showed records of her ancestors fighting in the war, 33rd Regiment. Those are people of African descent, whether you like it or not. All right. This is my third great grandfather. We showing genealogy. His name was Morris Verdier. He fought with Harriet Tubman. He freed over 700 slaves in the Combahee River. So this is my ancestor, right? And when you go to his genealogy, right? Look what it says. And this is called the Freedom by the Sword. Let me see if I can blow it up without it. Did it blow up? Hold on. Did it blow up right there?
No, it's still right there. Still there.
All right. I'm going to try to blow it up myself.
All right. It's blowing up now.
All right, man.
Yeah.
All right, let's go up. All right, I can read it. It says, the 2nd South Carolina was not the only black regiment organizing for service at that time. On January 26, 1863, Governor John A. Andrews of Massachusetts received authority to enlist 3 volunteers of persons of African descent. So that infantry that my 4th great grandfather was in, they were of African descent. And for the people in the chat that's saying, well, how do we know if YK connected to those people? Because I'm connected to those people genetically. As you can see, these are my ancestors. You see my face right there. So this is not something that I made up. These are my peoples. Now, here go another one of this is my 2nd great grandfather. His name was John Clark. And he also fought in the 86th Infantry, all right, of Mississippi. And look what it says. Look at the name of this infantry, y'all. It says the 86th Infantry was called Afrique. That's Africa. So the infantry he was in was called Africa, right? Now, we have OTK's genealogy. This is the brother who did a bill on sa.neter channel a few days ago. OTK shares some genealogy on the line and comes to find out he has African ancestors from the Akan tribe. Let's get it. His African ancestors are on wills. This brother denies his very own records just to be a damn Indian.
Damn.
You can't make this up. You can't. It's on tape. Let's get it.
And this is my proof that this is Morris Pinckney, and he's buried in the cemetery. You know what I mean? You see it, colored infantry, Marine Corps.
So that's Morris. That's Morris Pinckney, right? This is his ancestor. He fought in the 21st Infantry. The mother name was Affy. The spouse name was Nellie. They were owned by Charles Pinckney. All right.
Morris Pinckney was owned by Charles Pinckney. And Morris's mother, Affy Pinckney, was owned by Charles as well. All of these people are on this record.
And you see, West African. So OTK, you have African ancestors, brother. You think you are Indian, but you're not. If you gotta clear this up. You say you are Indian, but the records is showing you an African, brother. You gotta hold this L. And we got another Abo dying by their own genealogy. Let's listen to this Abo say his ancestors were owned by Indians. So if they were owned by Indians, how are you an Indian? Let's play the video.
I don't care. Listen, I don't care if she is white. She's still enslaved to people. We got the records.
Well, my people was enslaved by Indians, bro. That's an old white lady. Well, my people was enslaved by Indians, bro. That's an old white lady.
He said his peoples were owned by Indians.
Damn.
So you know, your peoples were a freedman, and a freedman is an African. So you're an African. Now let's go to the Negro law. And the Negro law states that section 3. No, let's go to section 1. It said declares all Negroes and Indians. So if Indians and Negroes are the same, why are they saying in Indians? So they knew who an Indian was, and they knew who a Negro was. Now this is Rosa Fay. She was a Seminole Indian. So for all the abos who say colored means Indian, right? Well, listen to what the elder said. The elder said, we's colored people. I don't say we have no Indian, just like all of us say. We say, yeah, it's some of us who got Indian in us, but that don't make we are all not Indian. Look what she said. She said, I'm not saying we don't have no Indian, because we has, but we ain't no Indians. We colored people. So she knew she wasn't no Indian. You gotta hold that L. Now, right? Now we're going to talk about the phenotypes, because you know Aboriginals always say things like, well, there were black people in America that look like us. They always say it. They do look at shit. Now let's see what David Eltis had to say about this. Listen to this.
Let's talk about, if I could switch from the word African or the title African for a moment, black people of the phenotype, such as mine,
yeah,
who match the phenotype of African people.
Yeah.
These type of people, do you have any information and research that people of that phenotype who match African phenotype, but are not, we're not using the word African, just the phenotype, were they in the Americas prior to European and prior to the slave trade?
No. No. That's a short answer.
So the people that try to use David Eltis, Sharice, OTK, Top Cats, y'all try to twist up his words, but the sister reached out to David Eltis and he said, no, the people in America did not have your phenotype. And now I'm going to prove David Eltis, because you know the abos always say the white man lies, can't trust anything they say. Then a few minutes later, European explorers said they saw blacks in America when they got here. You can't make this up, right? Now let's go to, sorry, is my screen still showing?
Yes, your screen's still showing.
All right, so this is the history of America, 1787. And it said,
I see the yellow part say in the book of history, in the book history. That's the one?
That's the
okay,
one.
Go ahead.
All right, it says in the book of history, right? How feeble soever the Constitution of the Americans may be, it is remarkable that there is less variety in the human form throughout the New World than in ancient continent. When Columbus and the other discoverers first visited this country of America, which lied within the torrid zone, they naturally expected to find people of the same complexion with them in the corresponding regions of the hemisphere. But to their amazement, however, they discovered that America contained no Negroes. So when they got here, America can contain no Negroes. So why the abos keep saying that it was Negroes here, right? Now we're going to go into the history of America, 1741 to 1850. And what do they say the Indians got? They say the Indians, the bodies and heads are flattish, the effective art. Their features are regular, but their countenance fair. Their hair long, black, lank, and as strong as that of a horse. They have no beards. The color of their skin is reddish brown. So does this guy right here look like an Indian? Does Dane Calloway look like an Indian? Or does this Indian brother right here look like an Indian? Because Dane don't look like no Indian to me. He looked like he's straight out of West Africa. All right. Now, they love to use this book. Everywhere you go, you see a picture of this lady on top of something. Abos love to use this book, but in this book, it gives a clear description of who the Indians and Negroes were. The Abos show this book for shock value, but they never read what's inside of the book. Let's read what's inside of the book, shall we? All right. It says the inhabitants of Florida are of all olive color, not copper. So for you guys that keep saying you Florida and you copper, they said olive. And without any deformity, their skins generally painted and their bodies naked, right? And it says above their middle, their hair long and black, hanging down to their hams. Now, this is a real painting from Theodore DeBry, and it shows those same Indian natives from Florida. And look at their hair and look at their color. You don't see nobody that look like us in those pictures. This is the same book. It says their hair is black like a horse. See, you Abos love to take the copper color, but you never speak about the long hair. And guess what? That long hair came from the European. That did not come from no Indians, because our ancestors.
Damn, you dropping bombs now, brother. I don't know how they're gonna get past this right here. Let's go.
They can't do it. Here go another Indian sister, and it says their bodies and head are flat. If you notice, every account is saying the same thing, and this is cross-referencing. They always say cross-reference, right? It said their bodies and heads are flattish. The effective art is hair long, black, lank, and strong as a horse. Now, this is a Wampanoag Indian tale. This is a real story from the Wampanoag Indians, and it speaks of somebody who came to this vineyard. It says every year when they went to this place for berries, the basket was more and more decayed. At last, many years after, a strange woman came toward them as they feasted after the berry picker. She had kinky hair. She asked if they remembered the squaw who had been lost, and she said, "Take me to your chief." They took her to the chief and told her the story. As she picked berries, a black man with thick lips and kinky hair came toward her. He told her that the chief had a thorn in his side that caused great pain. None of his people could remove it. That thorn is the white man. I don't want y'all to pay attention to the folklore. There's a thorn that they can't remove it. He had sent to her for help as a medicine woman who could cure sickness, right? Look what they said. They said they went down a flight of stairs until they came to a land of fruits and flowers. The little man led her to the chief, and she removed the thorn. She stayed among them, always thinking she would return to her people. One of the black men wished to marry her. So they're letting you know that the Indian and the black man are not the same. The black man wished to marry her, but she went to the chief and asked only if she could be allowed to return to her people. He gave her presents and sent her back with the man who had brought her to the place. They went upstairs, and when they had came to the place where she left the basket, the black man took away his presents and ran his hands through her long hair till it was kinky as his own. So in this Wampanoag tale, they're speaking of intermixture. You get what I'm saying? So when you mate with these people, you're not going to have that long kinky. It's going to change. So these is Wampanoag stories that was passed on about intermixture. Give me a second.
Take your time. Take your time, brother.
Sir, can you see it?
Drop these bombs. Yes, we see it.
All right. This is an 1851 map of Johann Blumenbach. 5 races: Caucasian, white, Mongoloid, yellow, Ethiopian, black, American, red. See, Abos want us to believe that they don't know who these people were. They was confused. They were just going around misclassifying people. No, they knew who everybody were. They documented it. You see the person right there that looked like you, the Negro, you see the Asian. So they knew who those people were. Now, this is
Yeah,
Massachusetts.
real quick. We
Oh,
got
yeah,
YK The Truth YouTube channel in there. If y'all want more information in depth, subscribe, because this brother gonna go in. His link is right in the chat. So make sure y'all get that link. Go ahead, brother.
all right, so this is Massachusetts, right? Men in Puritan Massachusetts bought, sold, and held enslaved Africans. Now, the first mention of a black man in the colony date from 1633. An English visitor published a true and lively description of New England for readers back at home. It includes an account of Indians who were scared then hurt when they came upon a black man in the woods. So if Indians and Negroes are the same, how come these people were afraid when they seen a black man? They ain't never seen nothing like that. So they sought help from a local farmer who finding him to be a poor, wandering blackamoor. So you abos got to hold that L. Now, if you go to the massacre of whites, because you got abos who say the Seminole, there was no Africans in the Seminole, it's just Indians. But if you look at this advertisement, it said massacre of the whites by Indians and blacks. So they're letting you know that Indians and black people were not the same. All right, let's go down. I'm about to get into DNA in a little bit. Just letting y'all know. Go back to where you came. Here goes another description. You see a Negro, a Caucasian, a Mongoloid, and an American Indian. Which person looks like you? It damn sure is not the American Indian right there. Now, this is from Races of Men. Y'all always say black people, they had color. Right, they had color, but what about the hair? But what about other phenotypes? You know, phenotype consists of more than just skin color. It don't. So it said the African race has a jet black complexion, woolly hair. See, y'all can't escape that woolly hair. Y'all know y'all hate y'all features. I know you hate your nose, you hate your lips, but you can't escape it. They wrote about it. The flat noses, prominent chins, thick lips. This race includes the Negroes of Africa. The Indian or American Indian has a copper color, coarse, straight black hair. So those are not you. Today's presentation is, are we the Native Americans? Are we the American Indians? So far, genealogy said we're not those people. Records saying we're not those people. Now I'm going to show you the DNA is going to show we're not those people. All right, let's let Rick Kittle speak.
Based off of our presence in North America, the African Americans, would you say that we are the original Native Americans?
No, that is a misnomer, a falsehood, an outright lie. Okay, that's exactly what that is. We are not the original Native Americans. There is a history that Native Americans have, and actually it's disrespectful for African Americans to go out and say that they're Native American to the rich Native American cultures that have been here for thousands of years.
It's disrespectful.
Damn.
Because you got your own culture. Why you want to be like somebody else?
Right.
We created blues, all this stuff, food, the things we eat. Why do you want to be like somebody else? Why do you hate yourself so much? It baffles me, man. Like, I love who I am. Now, I live in Colombia, and this brother right here did something to a lady. He murdered the lady, but DNA solved the murder, right? So while you guys saying DNA is not real, they knew that the brother was 92% West African. They even made a description of the brother based on DNA. All right. It says, nonetheless, the police in Columbia, South Carolina, last month released the sketch of a possible suspect. rather than an artist rendering based on witness description. The face was generated by a computer relying solely on DNA. So why are you guys saying DNA is a hoax when they are using DNA in real time? In real time. It said it may be the first time a suspect's face had been put before the public in this way, but it will not be the last. Investigators are increasingly able to determine the physical characteristics of crime suspects by DNA. So you got a whole lot, right? Now, this is another study because you guys asked for the sources. And it says in this study that African Americans on average are 73% African, 24% European, and only 0.8% Native American. This is based on the DNA. And this is my African ancestry. You know, I'm putting the time in to show you guys. And it says, our scientists compared your Y chromosome polymorphisms to those from people around the world and found the 100% match to the Igbo people of Nigeria. It doesn't say I'm Indian. It doesn't say I'm Native. I'm 2% Indian, Halito. All right. Let's deal with the migrations. So how much time? What we at? How much time I'm at?
You got 41 minutes. 41 minutes in, but you good. You can go as long as you want, brother.
Yeah, I'm about to keep going for a little more, brother.
Yeah, let's do it.
I got you. Even the migrational stories don't add up. See, the reason why Abos can't win with us is because we got all the historians, we got all the geneticists, we got all the archaeologists. This is why they always got to go and get our people to try to twist their words up. Why can't you bring your own people to show you who you are?
The thing is, y'all have absolutely no claim or no evidence to support your claims. Your claims are wild, they're frivolous, you can't substantiate any logical evidence. The migrations don't match. The migrations just don't match, right? So in terms of Mississippi,
Migration match is perfect.
so let me explain why the migrations don't match. You have all the black people living along the eastern coast for about 180 years. All on the eastern coast, all along the during the early colonies. That's where the white people live. Primarily in the South. American Indians live throughout the whole entire continent. The same is also true for South America. They're in the Amazon, they're in the interior of the Amazon, they speak their own languages, they have their own genetic markers. We have none of those things. We come over with West African genetic markers, we come over with West African vernacular and West African languages. We've identified historically as West African people at every juncture.
Okay, so if I break down this slave trade by regions within the U.S., so here I broke down the arrival place of enslaved individuals, across the coast here. So you have the north here in green, the Chesapeake Bay area. So this is near Washington, D.C. It's right at the border between the traditional north and south in the U.S. You have the south here, the Carolinas and Georgia, and you have the Gulf states. And one thing you can see is that, well, firstly, there's approximately 400,000 individuals who were brought in and who survived the voyage. The vast majority of individuals were brought in the south or near the south. And because of changes in the economy, these people were then forced to march inland towards the plantations, which were...
So what he's trying to say is, why are we all in the South? Remember, before the Great Migration, everybody was in the South. When I do my genealogy, everybody in the South, and they moved other places later on. But if we was already here, why we are only in one location? If we was already here, we would be all over the Americas. So that's another dead giveaway. Now we're still in genealogy, and this is a genetic analysis of 3 individuals showed that they shared Y chromosome lineage that is prevalent in sub-Saharan African and is now the most common lineage among African Americans. So the DNA, this is the skeletons of the 16th century African slaves recovered from a mass grave in Mexico, right? When you look at laws, when you look at the Constitution, because you know Abels will say things like, well, we got a senator, and the senator said that we was already here and we was Abels. Don't you know we got a resolution in effect right now that they apologize for slavery? They apologize. We want our check though, but they letting you know, we know these people are African. We know we done them wrong, but yet you got Abels who would deny it. Even the people who done it to us, not even denying it. But you got Abels that's denying it. That's sick.
As Conrad's 26.
Madam President, I ask consent that the clerk read the entire text of the resolution.
Without objection. As Conrad's 26, apologizing for the enslavement and racial segregation of African Americans. Whereas during the history of the nation, the United States has grown into a symbol of democracy and freedom around the world. Whereas the legacy of African Americans is interwoven with the very fabric of the democracy and freedom of the United States. Whereas millions of Africans and their descendants were enslaved in the United States.
Did it say millions of Indians? Did it say millions of Aboriginals? She said millions of Africans. Millions of Africans. And so I got a few more slides and then we can open up, because I want to can you hear me? So are you there? Did brother step away? All right. If you stepped away, I'm gonna continue. Sai, you there? Let me read the chat real quick. Sai, you there? You can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, brother. I can hear you. I'm right here.
All right, my bad. I'm gonna continue for about another 10, 15 minutes, then you can open up, because I would like to do a part 2 with some more stuff. I don't want to,
Oh, I was just gonna come in and help.
Yeah, all right, appreciate it. Well, I'm gonna get back to it.
Yes. It's good that you're gonna do a part 2, because I got OTK coming up next week. So you know he's gonna try, or he's gonna do what he do and rebuttal. And so you could do your part 2 when you see that. All right, brother.
All right, I'm gonna continue.
Go ahead.
All right. So you got Josiah. He was a runaway Negro, and he spoke about running into Indians, right? And he said, we did follow on, and soon the noise was stopped. And as we advanced, we could discover Indians peeping at us from behind the trees. So they're speaking, he's speaking like these people are not the same as us. Because if he would have said, you know, I seen my brothers and man, we knew each other. We had stories and everything. But no, he said he saw Indians and that's it. So that shows you that we are not the same. Now, this is the Indian and the American past. And it said an Indian man or woman may cost 18 or 20 pounds, but a good Negro is worth more than twice that sum. So if Indians and Negroes were the same, how come the Negro is worth more than the Indians? See, everything in history is saying we are not those people, but yet you still want to be those people. And this is not to knock the Indian people, but it's saying we were worth more. We were worth more than twice than an Indian, but you want to be an Indian. And it says, this is from the history of Central America. George Frederick and his half-brother Robert, like their father George, who was killed in the 1800s, were of mixed Negro and Indian. So Indians and Negroes are not the same. When you look at the narratives, it said, my father was Abram Brown, and my mother's name was Lucy Brown. He said there were slaves of Dr. Arthur Gordon Rhodes. My grandfather and my grandmother were grown when they came from Africa, and were man and wife in Africa. So you got narratives that say we come from Africa. You got DNA that say we come from Africa, genealogy, the historians. And I know the Abos, they be sick because they can't do this. They can't come on a platform and show all these sources till you get tired. And it says, here's another narrative. I is 81 years old. I was born up on the watery river close to the Great Fall. My master was Osmond Barber. My mistress was Miss Jane Elizabeth, her the wife of Mars Osmond. My pappy was named Jacob. My mammy went by the name of Gemina. They both come from Africa where they was born. Now, this is from the book Prison Life in the South, where they speak about the Negroes on the plantation doing an African dance. It said Saturday, the 8th, 9th, December 3rd, this night was the first we spent in sleep since we started. It was acceptable indeed, though somewhat interrupted by a genuine, ooh, what does that mean? Genuine African dance held by the Negroes of the plantation in the open air. So it's telling you that the Negroes was doing an African dance. Why wasn't the Negroes doing an Indian dance, Abos? Ask yourself that. We got the one drop rule that proves that Africans and Negroes are the same. Persons in which there's a visible...
Yo, that's deep. That's deep right there. A lot of people ain't catch that. They was doing the African dance. Why not the Indian dance? Come on, man.
Hold that L. Let's go. It said the one drop rule was African blood. So all you Abos going around talking about waterplecker this and we misclassified. It said person in whom there's an invisible, distinct mixture of African blood shall, for the purpose of this act, be deemed to belong to the African race. All right. What else I got here? I know I got some more before I wrap it up. All right. Yeah, we can wrap it up. So I got another presentation, but we can wrap it up now. You heard?
All right. Yeah, I hear you, man. Let's get it in. So for those of y'all who are out there who would like to come in and ask the brother a question without trolling, y'all could do that. We don't run, we source up, and that's exactly what YK the Truth is all about. He's all about sourcing, man. Whenever you see him, this brother right here, do a show, you can count on he's gonna source it up where y'all can go and check it out and see if he's right or wrong. And I ain't had nobody debunked him yet. They would use the word, oh, I debunked that, but they really didn't debunk it. You know what I'm saying? They really didn't debunk nothing because they just verbally talking and they think they debunking something without showing proof. And when they do show proof, try to show the proof, they don't show everything. You know, they'll stop. And then YK got to come behind them and say, well, damn, why did they stop? Why ain't keep reading? And when you keep reading, it's a wrap.
Yep, they always do that. They always do that, man.
Yeah, no doubt. So let me bring the people in. All right. Yeah, we got my man Elder Suntan in the building. What's up, Elder Suntan?
What's up, my brother, my little brother Sam and Shaddai. I'm Nepal Shaddai. And my new little brother. Why YK? You know,
YK the Truth. YK.
Let me say this to you, young brother. How does analogy sound to you? You know, the white man is in most all of us Black Americans, right? But we don't call ourselves white. So Indians had got this piece of prestige back when they got all their land took and they started to restore themselves. They had black slaves. So that's where our blacks call themselves Indians, but they won't call themselves whites because of the color. Do that make any sense to you?
Yeah, that nah.
Do you understand what you see what I was trying to say?
Right.
As the white man mixed with the blacks, right? That's why I want to come to you, because you got facts here. As the white people mixed us up, right?
Right.
But the Indians had slaves. They did, and these slaves that was on the Indian plantations was black. And that's how they intermixed and became Indian, because a lot of black people have Indian in them.
Yes, sir. Yes, they do.
But you don't see those. You follow what I'm saying?
Yes, and I will. Yes, Elder. I will never tell somebody they don't got any Indian ancestry in them. If they tell me, because that's a fact. We did mix with them, but to say you don't have no African, that's
the crazy part.
And I wanted, if I can add to that, thank you so much for this presentation, YK, the truth.
Yes, sir.
No problem.
And because there is a significant amount of mixture where there's intraculture, cultural, experiences or occurrences. We did mix with them, and that is why I want to let everybody out there know, I'm not talking to the individual who says I'm Native. I will never try to take that away from you. My position, YK also, do not try to tell us that the slave trade, now you're messing with our family. Don't try to tell us the slave trade didn't happen. That's my position with them. Stop trying to erase the horrible slave experience that we had. And with that, I want to ask my brother YK, how did you like the interview with our sister, the Queen, Antoinette Harrell? What did you think about that interview? Did you see it?
I seen some of it. I love the energy, and I love the questions. I caught some parts when she was talking about it. Yeah, it was deep. It was deep.
She goes into all of the records. She connects with people.
Right. She's the genealogist that y'all had, right?
Yes.
Yep.
But listen, the most important question, did you hear when I asked her? I said, through all your research and fact finding, have you found any records of any of them claiming to be Indian or Hebrew? She said no. No.
Right. That's
right. Been doing this for 34 years, Nepal. 34, she said.
34. And she there are slaves today. See, it was for Juneteenth, and most of us think, oh, slavery's over. A lot of those people stayed on the plantation, and they have been passing down generation after generation of being slaves, basically. Our people.
It's called
so they know that they know slavery was real. They know
how they know.
So again, to my brothers and sisters who do have Native American, or what do you say, Indian heritage, I'm not saying you don't. But don't tell us that the slave trade didn't happen or didn't happen like we know it. That's my problem.
And don't diminish our blackness. Because
our Africanism. Our Africanism, our African self.
Yeah, because like I said, when they do this, then they saying like on YK said, they saying we are those people and you're not those people. You telling a lie to yourself. Right. So we would be everybody on this panel would be crazy if we would say a lot of black people don't have Indian in them. I got black people in my family who look just like the phenotype what YK was talking about, phenotypical Indian. That's and they black though, but they look like because of that admixture. So I wouldn't take that away from them.
Well, and with me, I always mention this, not always, but during these kind of conversations, I know that my grandmother was Native American, and my grandfather, he was black. Well, he was, African. His father was a slave, or I think it was mother. One of them is a slave, and one of them was not a slave, of slave heritage. So I know that my mom picked cotton as a little girl, and her parents picked cotton, and their parents picked cotton. But I found out from talking to David Eltis that most probably
It was a Native American plantation owned by Native Americans. And I always wondered how my mom would say, well, she said she picked cotton with Indians, with Native Americans. And I would be like, why did you pick cotton? I always thought that, but now it makes sense because they did own us. They had plantations.
Right.
They had cotton plantations. So anyway,
right.
peace, Lex.
And one more thing I like to say, and I'll turn over to Lex. The people who's getting mad at this are just the people who lying to themselves. Hey, Si, this one for you. I'm throwing this at Dan Calloway. He don't look like indigenous Indian. He look like the Omanak. You know what the hell?
Man. Yeah, the Omex. The Omex.
He look more like the Omac than the Indian. I'm done because I ain't throwing rock.
All right, we got Lex Vortex in the building, man. What's up, Lex?
What's up, going on? Peace to everybody. What's up? I think there's some confusion. Like, I think we have extreme abos, you know what I'm saying? The people that may claim they don't have no African ancestry. But I think it's an extremity that's going on the other hand with a lot of, brothers that's caught up in the straight African paradigm. So I want to ask, just let's use Nepal for an example. And I want to deal with something Elder Suntan said. He said, you are not those people. And he said he has a family member, but that has the phenotype of an Indian. So Nepal, your great grandmother was an Indian, right? And then on the other side, you have someone who was descended from African slaves.
My grandmother was Indian. My mom's Indian.
Okay. Which one can you claim?
I get to claim both.
Right. That's right.
All right. Now, okay, that's straight. Right. Now here's where we at. And this is why FBA is so important. So you get the claim. So this is what I'm saying. When do we get to claim certain parts of us and not? So if you was to claim Indian, could someone say you hated your African self?
Yes, because if I walked around just saying that I'm Indian, I would be going along with a lot of their.
Right, I got you. Now, if you just claim you're African, do you hate the Indian part of yourself?
Hate is not the word. I think.
Well, I used it for the first example. I'm using it for the second example.
The reason is I'm going to tell you because when you're denying that you're a descendant, the progeny of African slaves, it's most likely because you're ashamed and you hate it.
Right.
No, that's fine. That's what I'm saying. But what happens if I deny the Indian side of myself?
You have a black experience. Because most of the people who are mixed, excuse me, I know people don't like that word. Most of the people who are multicultural or mixed, they get the black experience because for me, look at me, my phenotype. Nobody's asking me if I'm Native American. They're calling me a black BITCH if they're mad, or get out of here, NIGGER. So usually, I'll mention the Native American in the context, but so
it's okay to deny. It's not okay to deny the African, but it's okay to deny the other stuff.
It's not about no. Did you say deny? I'm sorry, not deny. Just I don't bring it up unless it's not. I don't deny it. Heck no.
Don't take the question personal. I'm just using
I'm not. Right. I'm sorry.
Well, understand
I made a mistake.
What I'm saying.
I made a mistake. I didn't. For some reason, the word deny didn't register till just now. Yeah, it is. You do hate your Indian if you deny anything about yourself, you hate yourself. So yes.
All right. So is it fair to say you can claim to be an Indian?
My mom does that. I don't.
No, I'm just saying based on your genes. If you look in your ancestry and you find if your grandmother's an Indian, are you not an Indian?
All right, but yo, hold on.
No,
hold
on, sa.neter.
No, Lex, let me say this. I gotta cut in. See, the problem is I don't think YK the Truth is not saying that some of us are mixed in with them, like we integrated and we mixed up with them. Being that they was amongst us for so many years, we was amongst them. So of course there's gonna be some interracial mixing going on, right? So what Nepal is saying, and what a lot of the Indians be saying is that they don't have no African blood.
I get that.
Indian. That's what they say, brother.
Yeah, there's some of them who do say that, and that's fine. You know what I'm saying?
It's not fine, Lex.
I want to tell you something, Lex. I want to know. I want to say something about here, like with the, for instance, if I go to my grandmother's people and their tribe, and I would have to really be living amongst them in the on the reservation. Right. And I do know a lot about their culture. We do the sewing when I was little, the dresses that my grandmother, because my mom is connected to her mom, right? But because I'm mixed, and that could be anything, white, black. If you're mixed with something, they're not gonna really give me that love like I get from my black people.
Right, I get it. Now let's turn that around. You said that, you know, if I was living in the tribe and, you know, doing their customs,
yeah,
that same thing applies to Africans. We over here, we don't live in their tribes. We got our own customs and stuff now. I mean, if you say that, oh, they don't accept me, the Africans don't accept me, then that's the same thing.
All right, you got a question for YK?
Yeah. YK, I understand your stance. Are you saying there were no black people in America before 1492? I just want a yes or no. Then I got a follow-up question.
No,
there was no black people in America. So
no black slaves in America.
No, I didn't say slaves. I said black people.
No.
All right. So, are you familiar with Balboa?
Yeah.
So when Balboa describes these African warriors, that he sees these African warriors, and he says, "This is kind of strange. Where are these big black Ethiopian kinky hair people coming from?" And also, the Native Americans said that they was at war with these people. Do you need me to pull that up, or are you familiar?
Oh no, but you going by looker shit, brother.
No, wait, before you go into the looker shit, because I'm gonna get to, because I know that's another thing you're gonna pull up. Because if you go into looker shit, then you can't assume that when we seen the Native Americans that they wasn't African. So let's not go there. Because hold on, before we go there, slow down, bro, because I want to deal with my first
game. Go ahead, brother.
Hold on, Lex. You gotta let he's
no, but but I want to deal directly with my question. You know what I mean? I see where he's going. I don't want to interrupt the brother, but let's first deal with you say lookership, but I'm just saying, how do you explain that he identified these people? They don't have the normal phenotype of what you would call a Native American. He's surprised, calls them African black type people, and the Native Americans say they're at war with these people.
Well, they said that they was left by the Portuguese, though. So those people weren't over here by themselves. You know what I mean? It's not
that's not. I can pull it.
Let me finish. So with that being said, it was with the white people. So we're talking about before a white person stepped foot on America. Can you show me? There's no evidence, brother. We had David.
Hold on, you're going into something else, brother.
Let me finish.
Next. You gotta let him finish, brother.
We had a historian on here who made it clear as day.
There's
nobody here without phenotype. So I hear what you're saying, but I'm gonna go with the person that's qualified.
Right.
No, I don't care what the person says. I'm talking about before this person existed in this time period. You're just trying to explain that away. And not only that, there's other instances, just like in Columbus's diaries and in what's his name? The other guy, I forget his name right now, begins with a V. When they talk about the black people who gave the Native American gold spears. And they call them as black.
Van Sertima.
No, that's not Van Sertima. Van Sertima is only quoting the historical event where they're saying that that black people and Africans was in America way before 1492, and there's many instances where they were identified And later on, this is what I'm telling y'all. Y'all got to be gaslight.
Hold on, Lex.
Hold on. Let me
All right. Hold on, Lex. Hold on. You can't take over. You can ask a question, but let YK the truth teach.
Lex, when did Balboa come to America, brother?
This is what, the 1500s?
Right. So why are you talking about Christopher Columbus or before the white man, brother? Like, why are we gonna do that?
Because these are the people they encountered.
No, but that's some white people were already here. So they
I mean, but no, Balboa's like 50. Hold on, brother. Balboa's like,
one second. So why did you try to make it as if it was no white people here? That's never was our position.
When did I ever say there was no white people here?
By you saying that they seen somebody, but at that time there were already African people that was coming here with them. Hold
on, bro. Balboa was like 1513. Columbus comes in 1492.
Right.
There's not like millions of Africans, and they understand at this point who the Native Americans are, who these people are. When they come in contact with these warriors, they're not like the other Native Americans that they have seen. And they describe them differently, and they describe them black. And the Native Americans themselves say that these are a different people. How do you, who are those people is what I'm saying. They're black people.
I got you. Like I said, there were white people that was already here. Okay. They could have came with them. Now, let me ask you a question.
There's no
hold on, brother. Now, do you have anything else? Genetically, archaeology, or are you just going on based on what somebody cross-reference?
No, we also...
Yes or no, brother? Do you have anything else?
Yes.
What else you got that goes with that?
I have a group, 2 black ancient Africans that go back to 1200, found in the Caribbean, actually in I'll tell you the specific island. Look up an article. You can look. Let me read it for you.
Before you read that, let me just get the super chats. Let me just get the super. Princess Nyambi, thank you for the super chat, the $5. Why doesn't anyone claim their white side? Black Americans are genetically more white than Native Americans on average. And then real quick, Yodi Jones, thank you for the super chat. Yodi Jones says the term black may include all Negroes, but term Negro does not include all blacks. 1854 California Supreme Court ruling. Look it up. All right. Thank you. Thank you for the super chat.
That's kind of a straw man, Lex.
So Lex, I
want to move on because it's taking up time, and all right, hold on. I don't know how much time YK the Truth got, but I know he got a family and he want to get back.
Yeah, I gotta pick my daughter for me.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm talking about.
I know. It always comes to that one, Lex. Real quick. Just give me 30 seconds.
Before you finish, Lex, we could have a debate about that, brother.
Okay, let's do it. But I want to be. Let's set it up, YK. And I'll beat you up pretty bad.
I'll let it see it.
All right. So we can move on from there now. Let me get
Hey, son, I just want to give the article, bro. Please.
Oh, go ahead.
Or you can look up an article called "Bad News for Columbus," written in 1975, New York Times. Posted by the Smithsonian. They find 2 Africans in the Caribbean dated to 12 AD, and they knew they was Africans because of the markings on their teeth, and their DNA was sub-Saharan, and they had the tribal markings. So look up the article, Bad News for Columbus. This is one of the things that Ivan Van Sertima referred to, but it didn't come from him. It came from the Smithsonian.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. Hold on. Let me get my brother Messiah Code is in the building. Messiah Code, what up, brother?
Peace, brother.
Peace to the family. Peace. What's going on, y'all?
Peace.
All right. You got a question for YK?
Yes, sir. Peace to YK, the Truth, man. I've been following you for a while, brother. Thank you.
Peace, bro. Appreciate you.
All right. So I got a question. Have you ever hooked up the African and Indian origins through the pottery?
You said, can you repeat that, brother? My bad.
Have you ever hooked up, like, linked up the Indian and African origins or connections through pottery?
No, I haven't.
I'm gonna give you a 1-up. Check a couple books up. Philip D. Morgan, also Judith Carney. They talk about like the residue that was in the pottery. It was also this. It was same residue, same foods that was in Africa. They were eating those same foods in America as well.
Wow.
So yeah,
right. The archaeology, got you. Appreciate it, brother.
It talks about the relationship because I'm gonna say this, bro. I represent Taino for as my Indian heritage. You know, the Taino. We can go on and on about it, but when you go into the pottery that they was utilizing, the pottery has, yams. It has certain things like rice. Certain things that don't stem from here. If you look at the residue that's in the pottery, so that's just a 1-up. Maybe you can check that out. That you can make some connections with that.
All right, appreciate it, bro.
Yes, sir.
And when he brings up real quickly, I want to just, if you let me just jump in, I won't take long. The Taino, I don't hear many Abos, maybe I'm wrong, or the Indians, whichever way they name themselves, because some say Abos, some say Indians. I don't really hear them claiming Taino like I would think they would more, because I have some Taino roots too. Because that's the Caribbean? I know it's like the island of Hispaniola.
Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic,
Hispaniola.
Haiti, Jamaica, those are all Taino words.
Right. So what I want to ask YK or anybody else, why don't we hear them claiming their Taino roots?
That's a good question.
Yeah, it is.
That's all.
All right, let me move it on over to Asa and Ka. Let's make it quick so I can get everybody to ask a question to YK before you get up out of here.
Yeah, good presentation, young brother. You on the move. Definitely we all need to look at the black presence in the 1300s by Abu Bakari from Mansa Musa and them's clan.
That's right.
This is one thing that's been approached incorrectly. This is something that has to be brought out. If necessary, I'll do a lecture on it, and I want to see if you and Lex do a debate on it first. If not, I'll go in and I will break it down so that it can be explained, understood, and we can see what happened to those clans. And I have an awesome explanation. Excellent presentation, brother.
All right. Thank you. You want to respond, YK? Unmute yourself, brother.
Yeah, I said appreciate it, brother. And I definitely look forward to that debate with Lex. Don't run, brother.
That's right.
All right,
bro. I'm ready, bro.
Zali, let's get it.
What's up? I want to say peace to the panel. I want to congratulate the brother YK on an excellent presentation. You really did not give the people whom you were aiming at any room to damn wiggle or dance around or nothing. And I think that you're going to go even further and deeper into your presentation next time. The question that I have pertains to when you get into the science of it, and you actually started to get into the science of it when you mentioned phenotype, because like I mentioned a couple nights back that these features that we have, that black people have, this isn't something that we would have if we were here on this landmass for 5,000 years. These features evolved over on Africa, and you did touch upon the phenotype earlier. I was just wondering, do you have any more information that you're going to use to shoot down the ABOs? Because paperwork, they can kind of they try and wiggle around it, but you cannot wiggle around science, right. So I was wondering if you were going to touch more upon things along those lines, brother.
Yeah. I'm kind of mad at myself because I left it out where they spoke on, how the climate affected those phenotypes. Right. I got one where they compared the Aboriginal phenotype to ours. And they say how we got ours because we from Africa. And they say Negro. See, they always know who the Negro and who the Afro Indian is. So they wasn't confused. The Abos are confused. But next time, brother, I'll share that, bro. And I
does that same thing apply to the Australians who've been here for thousands of years? Why don't they look like Native Americans?
Because you got something that's called convergent evolution. So when you're dealing with those phenotypes, when you based on similar climate, and I'll speak on that. I got that in the PowerPoint as well. If you,
all right.
Yeah, go ahead. So
all right. The last question, we got Apostle Saquon in the building. Apostle, you got the floor, brother. Unmute your mic. Unmute your mic, Apostle.
You getting busy.
Yeah. You got too much food, Apostle.
For clarity.
Uh-oh.
Are you saying that there are no so-called Negro people living in America that are not native to America?
No, that's not what I said, Elder.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm saying we do. There are some of us who have indigenous DNA, but we are predominantly majority West African, hands down. And I will never take away Indian people, the people who are, got Indian in them. I will never take that away from them. But we're not that. You know what I mean?
Okay. I mean,
that'd be like 90% of us.
Right.
However the percentage, that's what it is.
So you're not saying to me, if I say that I'm Native American, you're not saying to me, you're lying, Apostle. You're not Native American. Or I don't have Native American in me. You're not saying I don't, that's not true, right?
No, I'm saying that you may have Native American in you. But as far as you may also have other things in you as well.
I do.
But the whole thing is, my thing is, I'd rather see it. You know what I mean? I'd rather not just take your word for it, but ask for the evidence. Do you have any genealogy? Do you have anything to verify? Yes.
So I'm sharing my screen. Since you told me get up here and show and prove.
There you go.
Read the joint, Nepal.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Reverend Amun-Ra McCarthy, for the $20 super chat. He said, Lex is smooth with it, and so is YK. This needs to be a pay-per-view debate.
Yes.
Thank you, Amun-Ra.
I'm going to beat Lex up.
YK, I'm going to embarrass you, bro.
All right. Right here.
So
all right. I share your screen, Apostle.
It's sharing.
Okay, there it is. I see it.
This is Levi Tony.
It's kind of blow it up, Apostle. Can you blow it up a little bit?
Yeah, I'll try. Only way I know how to blow it up is go to these three dots.
Yes, there you go.
Yeah, that's cool.
Okay, we can see Levi Tony.
This is Levi Tony. Over here, the Dawes Law. Over here is the ancestry thing. It shows here Levi Tony is on my family tree, as well as my mother's family tree, which is the Youngs. Levi Tony is a United States Native American who is full-blooded Cherokee. All the Tonys are out of South Carolina. Not just Levi, but all the Tonys, including my fourth generation grandfather, Charles Tony. So I'm not going to keep going through this.
But now you got to show you now. Show where you
There's his name right there. Stanford Montgomery.
Yeah. Okay.
Hey, side to be fair, Apostle look like an Indian.
Hold on. Let YK talk.
Yeah, thank you, brother. Thank you. It's been 8 years, and the abos. See, that's what shows that you're not an abo. This is what the abos need to do. Do what the elder just did. See, I don't deny that. I love seeing this. So this would hopefully encourage of the Abos to show your genealogy. Thank you, Elder. I appreciate you, man.
That's right.
100. You did it.
You can take
Right, but that also proves.
Yeah.
I just want to say this. I'm not coming in here saying I'm full-blooded Cherokee.
Right.
I'm not saying that.
Right.
Yeah, because you said your father is African, right? Or something like that?
My mother's father is 3-generation pure African blood.
I thought you said you're Portuguese.
He mixed.
I said my mother's father.
Yeah, he mixed.
So my mother's father is 3 generations pure African on American.
Right.
Got you.
So you black. Black
You
mixed
know,
with
you know what I noticed? My bad, Elder.
Without being interrupted, this would be so much easier. I just need 5 seconds, man.
Go ahead, Apostle.
My mother's father, parents were full-blooded African, their parents were full-blooded African, and those parents were full-blooded African. For 3 straight generations. My mother's mother was half Cherokee and half Creek.
And that right there, Apostle, proved what I said. And I wanted to ask YK that question. We have been mixed, brother.
Yes.
Didn't I say that?
Yeah.
But see, the problem that we have is that you have people that look just like us that say, I don't have no African blood. I'm pure. That's what they say. And they deny their African roots. But Apostle don't do that. So
You know what's crazy about that, son? Is that the people who actually
members.
My bad. You got it, Elder. My bad. I didn't know.
I got family members that was a part of the Trail of Tears that were forced on reservations in Western United States, along with the Mongoloid Indian. There are 2 different aspects. My grandmother did not look like a Mongoloid.
Oh, I gotta
That's
show
because
you.
the Indians had slaves.
So, real quick, can I box with YK since we
no, YK wanted to say something real quick.
Yeah, I'm about to say something. I'm about to step up out of here, man.
Hold on, everybody, hold on.
Run away.
I want
Run
YK.
quick, YK.
Hold on, Lex. YK, close us out, brother. Go ahead, close
I
out.
gotta pick my daughter up from a date. Now, you know what I noticed, son, is that everybody that show their genealogy, they never deny that African in them. I work. You see how the apostle say I got African in me, but why the people who can't show nothing saying they are Aboriginal? You know what? So it don't make all. I did a moving job with this lady a while back. She was mixed with Indian. She gave me a whole bunch of books about Indian stuff. And she said, yeah, I'm an Indian. She showed me all her records, but she know what else she said? I'm African too. They always acknowledge that part. So, and I just want to say thank you, Sa, for, letting me come up here and do my thing.
Yes.
To everybody and subscribing, everybody.
You're doing an excellent job, brother. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Nepal. Thanks, sa.neter, Elder
Peace, brother.
You definitely an elder to me, man. You've been doing this. I appreciate you, man.
Thank you, brother.
Peace, man. I appreciate you, little brother. I appreciate you.
Appreciate you.
I want you to get TKO, whatever his name is.
I got you.
OTK.
All right, man.
OTK watching. He watching.
He's mad.
Hey, YK, you dealing with a different animal, though. I want to let him know that. You're dealing with a different animal.
Hey, yo, Lex,
you a good animal, man.
Yo, Lex, I don't. I think you deleted me. Your number, I don't have your math. If you want to, you can put it in the back.
Okay, I text you the other day. But
I
I'll put it in the back.
Do it again, brother. I don't have it.
I want to say this to you, Lex.
Well,
Hey, Lex, I want to say this to you. I love your scholarship, man. So when I come at you or something like that, it's because we ain't gonna always agree. All right.
Oh yeah, that's cool. I don't mind. Hey, I don't mind this.
But I love your scholarship, man. You put a lot of people in place.
Hey, but hold on, Suntan. It's all right to give him his credit, but
I gotta do it. He got
Lex don't never give credit to my queen. because I know he learned a lot as well. And then you
that up to the bar. You know
I told Nepal she became a great young Sith.
Hey, Lex, you know you hate me, but it's okay. It's all love.
No, I'm just real hard on my Padawans. You know what I'm saying?
I am not your student.
But no, I'm just joking. But I'm just saying, it's all good. But I do want to say this, y'all. This is why FBA is so important. Why we use the term ethnogenesis.
Yo, don't forget to put your number in the back chat, private chat.
I got you. Ethnogenesis, meaning that we have a unique lineage. That lineage is like no other lineage on earth. It makes us our own ethnic group. That means we have Indian heritage. There's no denying of that. We have African heritage. There's no denying, and we have European heritage and other stuff. But we have developed a genetic consistency. You can test any black man in America, and mostly they're gonna have pretty much the same genetics. So what that means is, hold on, sa.neter, is what that means is we are an emerging group. We have a unique genetic makeup. And if you don't like the abos, the reason why they can be part, now I disagree with the hardcore abos that says they have no African.
Right.
But there are some black people here that do not descend from slaves. And people was here. And check it. Now here's the second thing I want y'all to realize. Everyone said, okay, we come from West Africa. And this is where y'all gotta understand why you're FBA. We're talking about our recent history. Now, if we go back and just say, okay, they came from Africa. Now I want to ask you, where did the West Africans come from? Were they always in West Africa? Or now can we say, all right, so did they come? Some say they came from East Africa, right? They migrated. So now the West Africans have to say, we come from East Africa. Now let's go to East Africa. Where do the East Africans originally come from? Because they tell us that everyone descended from the South. So how long are you something? After 1,000 years, right? The Australians are Australians because they've been in Australia for so long. Their recent history, their ancestors, their graves and their genetics are in Australia. Even though people say they hold on, they migrate.
Lex, so how does we fit into FBA, being that you said that we all have Indians and Africans and all these other things?
Right.
How do that fit into FBA?
From being in America.
That's what I'm saying. That's FBA. That's our lineage. That combination of genetics in America is what makes us Black Americans unique from anyone else. If you go to the islands, right? They're more Africaned out. Why? Because 12 million Africans went over there. Only 300,000, they say, came to North America, right? And 7 out of 10 were men. The men were mating with North American women. There's actually Africans who became chiefs and tribes. Now, here's the last thing I want to say, because I know y'all, I'm long-winded. When we look at something like the Seminoles, right? That was a combination of so-called African slaves, right? And Native Americans. These are thousands and thousands of people who fought off the United States government. Are any of us descendants of the Seminoles? Yes. So you can argue with the abos about them saying they don't have no African, but you can't deny that we are rooted in this country indigenously, and the Seminoles and the Maroons.
Let me tell you. Next. Hold on now. Let me say this right quick. Please let me say this and get this out, because the spirit of the ancestors just brought this to me. All right? They just brought this to me.
Which one?
When you look at that continental Africans, they are full-blooded Africans. Not all, but the majority of them are full-blooded Africans. When you look at the Native American people, they are full-blooded Native American people. You have some, not all, but most of them, the majority.
Right.
When you look at the Europeans, they are full-blooded Europeans. When you look at the let me get it out. The Puerto Ricans, the Spanish, when you look at the Puerto Ricans, the Spanish, the so-called African American, guess what? We are all mixed with things. This is why I say we have been mixed with so many people, right? That's why I say we have become our own people now. We have become our own
FBA, sir.
Let me finish. We have become our own people. Now I hate to make this this what I'm about to do. When you look at the animal life, let's say dogs, for example, and I'm not saying we know goddamn dogs. I'm just talking about the names that we go by. You got the Dobermans, the German Shepherds, the Poodles, the Pit Bull. You got all kind of Rockwilders. They have their own name, right? Because they've been mixed with something. And so they've been mixed with other dogs and other, animals, dogs. So now they have their own name. We, on the other side, we've been mixed with so many other people. We have yet to come up with who we are.
Yes, we have.
No, we have.
Why you keep saying that? That's what FBA is.
Look, can you please let somebody else talk, man?
Because you keep including America to us.
Hold on, sir. Let me put some correction on you.
I want to jump in before Apostle goes. Okay, so you see
come
this
on,
picture on the screen. This is my aunt, and she claims Native American and Black.
Oh, you
can see that. Yeah. So she identifies more as Black than Native, but she identifies with both because so I just wanted to show that like you say, would she be able to she does have on certain side of her family African heritage, slave heritage. So
all right, can I say this?
Would she be FBA? I'm talking to Lex.
Would she be FBA?
Hello? Yeah, if her on her Black side, she's got it slave heritage.
What is her mother and father?
Shut the door.
Native American is her mom. This is my aunt. I'm not going to show these people a picture of my mom because they like to come after me. But this is my aunt.
Right, that's right.
So your aunt, so her mom is Native American and her father is what?
He's got African slave heritage, like on one of his parents' side.
Huh?
It's not horrible. Yeah.
Did you leave it?
So see, you're going by phenotype. That's what my point is.
No, I'm not. I'm saying that FBA, their lineage is going to pretty much go back to Black people in the South.
He's not going to be considered FBA. Come on, brother.
That's why I said FBA goes back to Black peoples in the South, and those are descended from slaves. Now, if someone had, hold up, I'm about to explain.
Descends from slaves, though.
This is the double standard. This is what I'm saying. Like y'all are saying that this woman right here, now she could claim Native American, and nobody would have any problem with it. You see what I'm saying? Why? Because of the way she looks.
But then her father descends from Africa.
But reality, she can claim whatever she want to claim, and ain't nobody got nothing to say.
But I'm talking but I think we all know what a Black person in America is. Now, I don't know, her lineage is a little bit more complex than, you know what I'm saying?
No, let me say this to you. Just like Apostle, she's on her dad's side. She has my grandfather, my mom's father. He is the first generation that was not enslaved. So his family before him, his mother, father, they were one of them. The reason I'm not saying is because I'm not sure if his father was white or his mom was white, but one of his parents was a slave and came down from slavery. Does that make sense? So my grandfather's, one of his parents was he was the first child that wasn't a slave.
That's still FBA.
All right. Let me get Apostle.
So real quick though, I just want to wrap this up and be clear. So if his father was a slave, I mean, if her father's father was a slave, and she would be FBA, correct?
Right.
Yeah, I don't. That's a little bit more complex.
All right, hey, hold up.
It's complex, but I want to ask these questions. How come it's complex? I know, but I really, sa.neter, let me just ask, why is it complex? But if she would have looked more like me, it would be like, oh,
no,
yeah.
It doesn't matter the way she looked. It's what you told me that I'm just not able to put it all together.
Okay, let me just say
right
this:
now.
if her father was a slave, if her father was a child of an African slave, does that make her FBA?
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, if her father was a child of an African slave.
Man. Let's move on.
But they wouldn't accept her as FBA.
Yes, they would. They can't.
Yeah, if her lineage goes back to this country, and she's saying that, and it goes back to slaves, then you know what I'm saying.
She's FBA.
I sense there's something else going on there, but yeah, if you descend from the slaves here in America, you're FBA.
That's the bottom line.
But then again, there's nuances, because there's people that, you know, just like Black Americans. If that's the case, then why don't y'all apply that to the so-called African people with Indian heritage? You're putting all this pressure, saying, oh, well, she has this one ancestor, is she FBA? But when Black people say, well, my grandmother was Indian, I'm an Indian, y'all don't have the same standard.
That's because they say they were full-blooded. But anyway, let me move forward. Let me go and get a posse. And then I gotta get American Notice. Go ahead, Apostle.
Yeah, thank you. You know, Isaiah said the ancestors. Well, the Holy Spirit put it in me to say, with everything else that be said, and even coming to Africa, to the very first man in Africa, he has the beginning. And he didn't come from no tree. He didn't come from no bug. He didn't come from no other creature.
He came from the dirt, right, Apostle?
There's some DNA. He ain't come from the dirt like that. There's some DNA missing. And nobody want to talk about what they call junk DNA, which is actually missing DNA. They just don't know where it came from because they don't understand. But you're going to find out very soon. And please remember, you heard it from me first. Just like Christ said, my kingdom is not of this world. There is an aspect of me and my being that is not of this world, but you're going to soon be introduced to it.
Let's talk about the soul. But I want to ask something about the DNA, right? Now they say take a DNA test and you'll see that you're African and not Native American. Who are they using as the model for DNA for America? Because even the Asian tribes, their markers are not American markers. Why are they used as the template? How do we know in that when they say we trace back to West Africa, how do we know that they're not tracing back to us? Why are we used why are we not the standard for DNA? Why is it that it has to go back over there? And why are Indians who there's no set Indian DNA? A lot of that DNA is Asian. So what is American DNA? And then we go to someone like Perry, who they tried to discredit, Albert Perry, a Black American, has the oldest DNA on Earth. Now check this out. That DNA, when they discovered it, they said, let me tell you what they did, because you had a lot of them tethers like Garfield and them trying to discredit Albert Perry, right? But what happened, after they found Albert Perry's DNA was older than anything in Africa, they were saying, wow, we're going to have to reinterpret the way this out of Africa theory works and evolution and all this works. And so then what happens? They come back and say, oh, you know what? This DNA ain't from America. We just missed it. It's from Sierra Leone. But
all right, I gotta go, brother. I'm trying to take care of something. I want to get this brother his last time to talk because he ain't speak yet. And then I'm out. I'm out of here, y'all. All right, come on, brother. Cam up. Let the people know who you are. American Notice. Let's go. All right. Well, what's up, brother? What you got to say?
I saw YK the Truth in there.
Can you talk up a little bit? You sound real low.
Is it still bad?
Yeah, go ahead.
Tell him to get closer to the mic.
Mic check 1 2 1 2. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, can y'all hear him?
No.
See?
You hear him a little bit.
I gotta go back to the car. I don't know what it is when I'm in the
You can
car.
take your cut your camera off and put your mic to the phone. Now put your mouth to the phone and talk.
Mic check 1 2 1 2.
You sound better. You sound better.
Okay. On my avatar, you can see the real slave trade, which is called the Slav trade. So I just wanted to express that. The information about the transatlantic slave trade is it has beyond the point of having holes in the missing boats or the boats that they claim, but they can't show the original, or that sometimes they build a replica. But we do have the story of the Slavs. So I'm waiting for people like YK or the group that he runs with to be honest about that part of the story and the Pacific slave trade, the Coolie and the Dogla. Like, these things are being left out. Seems that they want to leave out the Fellahin as well, which was going on in the Middle East. And the person on my image, Sklav, that they were slaves from the Arctic down into Africa. And they were all Barbary pirates. So there's a whole piece of the story that's missing that I think would actually fulfill an answer that a lot of us wonder, like, why do they hate us so much? Might get some answers to some of the questions.
Who hates you so much?
The pale face.
Oh, let me ask you this question. If you was to take a big, thick chair that's made out of wood, right, and throw it in the ocean and come back 300 or 400 years later, what would you find?
I mean, you'd be lucky if you find
The chair I'm talking about. How would that chair look if you come back? If you was to even find it, would that chair still be there? Or would it be decayed and rotten and all messed up? What do you think?
most likely it would.
That's the same thing that happened with the boats, brother. You expect to see a full ship that was made out of goddamn wood. The boats were wood, brother. So what do you think you're going to see when you come back looking for the damn slave ship that was underwater for damn near 300 years? That's crazy, brother, that y'all would think like that. Y'all don't think rational.
That's
you know?
right. That's right.
I'm gonna show you the rational thought to it. If that is the case, then that defeats the whole purpose. Because if no boat can survive the ocean, through what you call decay, but how do we get the story?
Man, it was boats, man. Like this is the ridiculous. I'm just
So
saying that's,
boats, it wasn't no wooden boats. Lex. Of course, it was wrapped around.
Bro. These dudes are ridiculous. That's what I'm
It was.
saying.
Okay.
There was boats. There was a slave trade. It is heavily documented, bro. Like, come on, like y'all are wasting time. But see, the thing, what we're doing, bro. Why are y'all fighting against your own people? Can we take some time to heal and love ourselves and for so long we've been. You know how long we bigged up Africa? All through the 80s, 90s, we the ones who bigged up Africa. They didn't big us up back. If you can't go to why don't we have citizenship, bro? It's like when you're in a relationship, even a woman knows you break up, you need time to heal. Right? These people, all of them have abused us. And y'all are even y'all woke people, you're so psychologically filled with self-hate that when the tribe is rising up and saying, yo, we gotta love on ourselves for a little bit. Y'all are fighting against your own tribe and not understanding the political. Black people have to love themselves for a little bit, big up and protect their own culture for a little bit. We did it for everyone else. What is wrong with y'all? If the wave is saying, everybody's going for themselves, and it ain't like we're attacking nobody. It ain't like we hate our brothers and sisters. We just saying, you got your flag, y'all are representing. Why can't we represent for ourselves without a problem? And here's how you know it's hate. Because the Caribbean and Africans, they should be celebrating. Because they called us lazy, said we had no culture, this and that. So if we're getting together and saying, oh, we're getting our tribe together, we're gatekeeping our culture, we're codifying our culture, they should be clapping. And they're saying, oh, once they get it together, now we may be able to really practice Pan-Africanism. But what are they doing? They're fighting against it. Why would you fight against a people loving themselves and loving their own culture unless you had some interest in them not doing that?
Facts. Facts.
All right. So thank everybody. I appreciate y'all coming through. And peace and blessings. We out of here, man. Thank y'all.
Peace.
Peace.
Peace.